What is up, everybody? All right, getting this thing kicked off. By this thing, I think that I mean 2024. It's going to take a little bit again for me to make the switch from the 2023 to the 2024. So don't be surprised if I put out some videos here over the course of the next couple weeks. There's like a 1 month learning curve. So what we're going to be talking about today is blogging in a post 2023 world. I'm not going to talk too long. Part of the reason I'm doing this live is because I tell you what, this shirt is making these things just go crazy. Get in there, little guys. Gee, willikers. So I just uploaded a video, actually just completed just a bit ago, so it should be live now, of just 6 wild and basically unfounded and baseless SEO conspiracy theories / predictions for 2024. And so the reason I made that video is I was just having fun. Well, 2 reasons. One is because I'm still sort of like aggravated at what happened in 2023, and I need a place to put that energy a little bit. So I made this video because it felt good to kind of feel like I was going after Google a little bit. I wasn't, but it felt kind of like it. So that's what I did, is I put together 6 different conspiracy theories / predictions of what I think is going to happen in 2024. Of course, I'm also sort of at this point where I don't actually buy that anybody, including Google, actually knows what they're doing whenever it comes to what's going to come next, which also makes it part of the fun to be able to go like, all right, like if nobody knows, it's possible that one of these crazy things that I say about SEO and about blogging in 2024, one of them could actually end up being right. So like, because if Google isn't even sure what they're doing, maybe I get it right. And boy, wouldn't that be a treat? Wouldn't that be a treat if me, just some average dummy from the Midwest, actually made a prediction about Google and SEO and blogging that ended up becoming true? So if you don't know, my name is Rob, and I have a health and fitness channel that I started a couple of years ago. Over the course of the last year, I ended up having about 500,000 clicks to my website. I did very good and earned some decent affiliate commissions as a guy who wasn't a genius at SEO or knew much about SEO at the time or blogging, and learned a bunch. I'm just a hard worker, and lost almost all of that through after the HCU. And so that's why I made, what's interesting is I'll also, speaking of HCU, I didn't really lose hardly any traffic in any of those other updates after the HCU. I know that a lot of people that got hit in the HCU got hit again in those subsequent core updates, or maybe the spam update or something, or the reviews update. I didn't get hit again until at the very, very end of the year, which I thought was kind of odd. And also, by the way, I'm looking at my traffic right now, and I'll make a video about this if it sustains here in a few days. Like, looking at my traffic right now, I'm back in double digits on my analytics as far as users in the last 30 minutes. Part of that is I'm not getting too worked up about it right now, but it's about double what my traffic was a week ago. I'm not getting too worked up about it because my niche is also health and fitness. So it's that time of year where everybody's just going crazy and like wanting to do health and fitness stuff, and they haven't been wanting to do it most of the year. So I'm getting a little bit of the benefit from that. A lot of my top articles that are popping right now are the 6 best Bowflex home gym machines. That makes sense. Best pre-workout. I'm seeing a lot of like 75 hard, the fitness challenge thing. I'm seeing a lot of those pop up. But hey, double traffic is double traffic. I'm not hating on it. I appreciate you guys jumping in. So I'll touch on a couple of the things real quick that is in that new video that I just uploaded a few minutes ago. So again, it's the 6 wild predictions I'm making for SEO and blogging in 2024. So, I touch a little bit on the SGE stuff that's coming out, and that I'm not necessarily a believer that it's going to actually do what Google hopes that it's going to do. I know that a lot of people are worried. If you're a blogger, a lot of bloggers are worried that if SGE actually works out, then why would a user need to go to your website to get the answer that they want? So if they want to, like, how do I tie my shoe? Right now, they type that in, and then they'd end up clicking on one of the results underneath it. Whereas SGE would go, here's how you do it, right? And you wouldn't have to click. So I'm not a believer that that's actually going to take off. And I use the new Threads app. If you guys are familiar, Threads is Zuckerberg's answer to Twitter. and everybody got all hot and horny about it for a little bit and signed up for accounts, and everybody immediately forgot it existed. And so just because something is new and shiny and has a ton of hype doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to pan out in anything, whether it's an app or whether it's SEO and blogging or whatever. So I'm just not a believer that version 1 of the SGE stuff is going to make much of an impact. I'm also a big believer in human nature, and they're people are used to searching in Google one way, and like, so introducing something like SGE um, is going to take some time for adoption. And so I'm just not necessarily sure that I believe that's going to be the case. I touch a little bit in that video as well about Reddit and Quora, and how I think that we've already seen some sort of evidence that Google maybe did not intend to prioritize them the way that they prioritize them. And we're actually seeing some of that now, where Google is changing how they are putting Reddit and Quora into the new SERPs. I talk a little bit about that, and just, some things to maybe look forward to, or maybe to think about as we go forward into whatever kind of pops up next with blogging. I'm having a ton of conversations right now with bloggers who essentially lost everything with their blog. So a lot of people who lost all their traffic, and then like their affiliate commissions or whatever. I had a conversation with somebody today, and I haven't talked to her for a bit, but she reached out and was just like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm pretty down." And she didn't know that a lot of people got hit. And I was like, "Look, you're in the same boat as a lot of people." And I'm seeing one of two things is going on. People are either getting out or they're just like walking away from it for now, because like there's no direction, which makes it nearly impossible to know what to do next. And that's totally understandable if you're a blogger and like you're working hard. We've been working hard since September to try to figure. We were working hard before, but since September, we've been working hard to try to figure out what do we do next in order to get our sites back, and it's just not working. And so that becomes frustrating, and you start to feel like, honestly, this might never get better, and it might not. I don't know. I mean, but I'm also seeing a lot of people that are just like, I'm doubling down. Like, I'm doubling down on my site because, and I think there's some validity to this. Be curious what you guys think. That what Google did with these updates, it can't be what they wanted to have happen. Like whenever we look at the SERPs, it's hard for anybody to look at these SERPs and go, these are good. And so I can't imagine that Google would look at these SERPs and go, these are good. So if the SERPs aren't good, that's not what Google surely intended to happen. Although one of my conspiracy theories on that new video talks about that a little bit. Maybe they did it on purpose, but probably not. So if Google has bad SERPs, Google doesn't want bad SERPs. That means something didn't work out the way that they wanted it to, which means we are currently being impacted negatively by perhaps invalid and incorrect SERP, rankings. And if that's true, then when Google rectifies that, if Google rectifies that, and I think they will, then we have a better chance to maybe sort of look at the situation and go, okay, now we can figure out what we're supposed to do going forward. Because right now, how do you compete against inaccurate information that's ranking? Like, so if for me, one of the things I've talked a lot about is I've got articles on Planet Fitness. It's a gym, very popular gym, chain gym. It's what I go to 6 days a week. So I have a lot of articles about Planet Fitness as a certified nutrition or certified personal trainer and nutritionist who goes to Planet Fitness. I have a pretty good context for Planet Fitness. I'm there a lot. And so I'm getting outranked by high authority sites, but they are just talking about Planet Fitness. Like Forbes.com is like, here's what Planet Fitness is. And like Forbes has not been in Planet Fitness. Forbes is not a person who can experience that. And so I'm getting beat out in a lot of those cases by people just talking with no experience whatsoever. So yeah, it's obviously frustrating. So I think Google's going to rectify that. One of the other things I saw this week too, as I'm just sitting here blabbing for a few minutes, appreciate you guys watching, is I've seen, and this is going to be maybe controversial. I've seen on Twitter several times that people being mad at Google for the way that these updates rolled out and the negative impact that has had on these people and their incomes. And there's a lot of like, look, Google, you destroyed my income. You destroyed my ability to make money. My family is impacted, etc. And so there's a lot of that. If you're on Twitter, you've seen it. And I think that I get it, because it is a tough spot to be in. I'm trying to phrase this so that it is not offensive. It's hard because Google doesn't owe any of us anything. we have been using Google as a way to get what we want out of Google. We've been using it. It's been like a bad relationship in some sort of weird way. We're manipulating it to find keywords, and we got these tools to figure out how many times, based off of what Google's telling us, do I need to do this and this? And so we've been using it for our own benefit, and it's been working out nicely, and we got comfortable with that. But at no time did Google ever say that we worked for them, so they are required to treat us in a certain manner, right? Like, that's not a thing. If that was the case, that'd be different, right? If we were an employee of them and we had helped them make their money, then maybe we deserve something better from Google, right? But we don't work for Google. And so I think that we have to be careful with the mentality of, Google owes us something because we think we're important, because we might not be anymore. And that just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's the case, but if it becomes the case, Google does not answer to us. They're not responsible for our ability to make money. They don't care if we make money or not. And they certainly don't care at the behest, is that the right word? Of them making money. They're not going to make less money simply because they want to appease us, or they feel bad because we have lost our income through that doesn't even register on Google's radar, but I'm seeing it a ton on there. And again, I understand the sentiment of the fear that probably goes along with that if that was your primary source of income. The aggravation if you've worked hard on your site, which I feel the aggravation certainly, but I think that we got to be careful that we pigeonhole ourselves in the situation to where it's just like we rely only on Google for our success. And that because Google has screwed us over in some way, which they haven't, they don't even care, that somehow we have been mistreated by Google. And Google's just trying to do what's best for Google. It just is what it is. So I've seen that sentiment on Twitter a whole heck of a lot. So I hope you guys are doing good. 2024 is going to be a crazy year. 2023 was a year where I think that Google got overwhelmed by AI and they didn't know how to actually deal with it. So I think we're going to see some of that play out over the next half of the first year, I think, because they've got to be able to keep up. They're getting so many articles and things submitted to them. Like, what do? If you're Google and you're getting just absolutely bombarded with like blog articles, right? Or website articles. Like, at some point, do you have to deprioritize those in order to like just stay afloat? Truck Reports Geeks, agree with you, but at least Google should get the searches right if I'm searching for something. And so yes, that's a good point for a couple of reasons. One is I thought about this the other day. I wonder if they are legally liable if they present bad search results and somebody gets hurt because of like disinformation. I don't know if that's possible, and surely Google has that covered, but it's an interesting thought. But two, this is actually in the video that I just uploaded. There's a conspiracy theory angle I've got to that, which is, what if they made them bad on purpose to make SGE look better whenever they roll it out at the beginning of the year? It's far-fetched, but possible. But the third thing is, and I've talked about this actually in my last video too a little bit, is I think it's more of an issue of the Google can't tell the difference right now between bad and good. Like, it doesn't know. And part of that's because, interesting, also maybe insane. Maybe because, again, watch that video that I just uploaded. It makes sense in some weird way. But I think a lot of the problem that they're having right now is when you see spam, right? And you see things that just should not be in the results. And even if it's not your content that's ranking, something else is better than what's ranking right now. To me, that's more of an indicator, not that Google cares less about quality, but more of an indicator that they can't tell the difference right now. And I think that's probably because of an AI impact, theoretically, just a guess. I don't know, because I don't think they have any incentive to intentionally rank low quality articles, or articles that do not have proper information in them, or information that could hurt somebody. They don't have an incentive to do that, because ultimately, if people don't get the answers that they want, then they'll go somewhere else to get it. Google doesn't want that, right? So I think that in the end, despite how aggravated we are with Google with what they've kind of done here, I think that it is more of a symptom that they are currently unable to differentiate between quality content and not quality content. And that's why so many people are like, well, EEAT is out the window. I don't think so. I think it's just that it is unable to discern what is EEAT now, what would qualify under EEAT. So if experience is under EEAT, I don't think Google can tell the difference now between experience, because what you have, like, so in my case, you have a low DR site with high experience in certain areas versus a high authority site with zero experience. And I think that it's unable to differentiate, well, what is actually experience then? Is the experience because this website has a lot of authority, but doesn't necessarily talk from a firsthand experience about whatever the topic is? Or is it this lower authority site who does seem to be talking about this thing? And then, of course, the flip side there is in the AI introduction of like AI can pretend like it has experience, right? You can write an article that sounds like something has been there. So I think that in the end, it's going to be a matter of Google has to, in order for them to correct their SERP issue, which they've definitely got one. And I wish they would just say it. It's incredible. Like, just like they put out a post on Twitter at the end of the year, and it was like, we had a ton of fun this year. Let's look back. Let's look back at, and I've mentioned this in my last video. There's a really good account called Google Search Honesty. It's a complete trolling account of Google that acts like it's Google, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And it followed up with just like hashtag positive vibes or some sort of, just really kind of funny. If you get a chance, go and watch. But they just haven't admitted that there's a problem, even though there's obviously a problem. But I think in the end, I think Google needs those SERPs to be right. And I don't think that they've intended to rank things the way that they've wanted to rank them. And I talk actually a little bit about this in my new video too, with Reddit and Quora. And what we're starting to see a little bit is them backtracking on some of the things they implemented during these updates. So if you look, they're already changing the placements of some of the Reddit and Quora in the SERPs. They've kind of changed. They've added some new stuff at the top, so it's not actually part of the SERP. Sometimes it's in this other thing at the top. Well, why the hell did we just go through all those updates that put Reddit and Quora in all those SERPs if they actually didn't want them there? You know what I mean? Which means that they were rolling things out that had unintended consequences, and now they're trying to fix them sort of out on the go. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Just want to touch base and let you know that new video just updated. It's uploaded now. Let me see if anybody's watched it yet. It's one of the things I like doing with with YouTube is as soon as you upload a video, you can start seeing when people watch your video. Hey, 8 views. It just went live a few minutes ago. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. So watch that video. Tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'll be curious your thoughts. Hope you guys had a safe and healthy 2024. Hopefully it is a safe and healthy year for our blogs as well. And maybe somebody can bring in the resuscitator and breathe some life into these things. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next stream. Appreciate the comments, Truck. Appreciate you, bud. Talk to you guys later.